everybody, my name is Mr. Francy and welcome back to Mr. Francy Reads. Okay, so today we are doing my CSL number 9, which is my completed SAS list series review of the A Magic Garden mystery series by Amanda Flower. This is an adult cozy mystery trilogy written by Amanda Flower, my favorite female author of all time. Not just cozy female author, but female author of all time. So for those of you who weren't aware, last year I read 2 of Amanda Flower's series, the Amish Candy Shop series, as well as the Amish Matchmaker series. I ended the year by saying, by being up to date with both of those series and saying that I liked the Amish Matchmaker series and I loved the Amish Candy Shop series. This year I am reading 2 more of Amanda Flower's series. This one, the A Magic Garden mystery series, and the Magic Bookshop mystery series. So this one, the A Magic Garden Mystery Series, is the Amanda Flower series I like, and the Magic Bookshop Mystery Series is the series that I love of hers for this year. Alright, I have just today finished book number 3 and thought, which is the final book in this trilogy, and so I thought I might as well jump right in and do my completed SAS list series for this one review now that it's all fresh in my mind. Alright. Let's quickly go through the vital stats. Book number 1 is called Flowers and Foul Play. It is obviously an adult cozy mystery by Amanda Flower, and I gave this book 5 stars. Book number 2 is called Death and Daisies, once again an adult cozy mystery by Amanda Flower, and I gave that book 4 stars. Book number 3 is called Mums and Mayhem, once again an adult cozy mystery by Amanda Flower, and I gave that book 2 stars. So yeah, looking at the star ratings, you can see that I went from I love this to I like this to I'm kind of over it. Yeah, that's kind of how the series went for me as a whole. Trust me, I will be getting into all the reasons and more. So, without any further ado, let's begin my CSL number 9, I think. Yes, number 9, the Magic Garden Mystery Series by Amanda Flower. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is divide the series into its 2-worded genre, as I like to do. So, very quickly, for those of you who don't know, this is a cozy mystery series. For those of you who don't know, cozy mysteries are a subgenre to the standard mystery series. The reason why this came about originally was for authors to be able to create mysteries that were a lot softer than your standard mysteries themselves. Anything that would be considered to be quote-unquote too much had to be removed from the reader's experience. So if someone dies, the killing of that person needs to be removed. Anything graphic, horrible, anything like that is not allowed to be in a cozy mystery series, but can remain in a standard mystery series. Because of this, and because of the fact that I read mysteries as well as cozy mysteries, I go into my cozy mysteries for the cozy aspect. Now, there are readers out there who exclusively have their experience of mysteries done through just cozies, and because of that, there are readers, those readers may go into their cozies for the mystery alone. For me, because I read mysteries and cozy mysteries, I go into my cozies for the cozy aspect. Therefore, when it comes to my reviews, I split them up into the 2 words in the genre, the cozy aspect of each book and series and the mystery aspect of each book and series. So I just wanted to give you an overview of the cozy aspect of this series because we will be discussing that in further detail, and that is a big part of the reason why ultimately, while this series started off well for me, it did end up letting me down. So, The cozy aspect of this series is that we follow a woman by the name of Fiona Knox. Fiona was born and raised in a state in America. I think it was Tennessee, actually. She was from Tennessee. And her uncle lived in Scotland. He had a home there and a huge garden. He left the home and the garden to Fiona. So Fiona travelled from the States to Scotland to live in the house and take care of the garden. Now, there is a backstory to Fiona Knox, which is that her husband cheated on her while they were planning their wedding with the wedding planner. I mean, it can't get any worse, can it? Sometimes we have to laugh, otherwise we're going to cry. But anyway, and at the same time, she was running a flower shop in Tennessee, but the flower shop went out of business. So with the flower shop going out of business and with the breakdown of her marriage, or well, her relationship, I guess, because they hadn't gotten married at that point, Fiona was more than ready to pack up her life and do a sea change and move over to Scotland. So when we start off with book 1, Flowers and Foul Play, Fiona has just arrived in Scotland for the first time to claim ownership of the house and the garden. And then we're proceeding from there. Throughout the course of the series, and I'm saying this spoiler free, throughout the course of the series, Fiona comes to learn that there is more to the garden than meets the eye. The garden has magical properties about it, and the magical properties of the garden connects to Fiona. Okay, now, that's not a spoiler because the series name is literally called A Magic Garden Mystery Series. But I just want you to know that that's how that all started. So we know very early on that the garden is magical, and we know that that magic connects to Fiona in some way. That being said, it is now time to talk about book number 1. So the premise of this book is that we follow, as I say, Fiona Knox, and Fiona arrives in Scotland and ventures out to her godfather's pride and joy, his garden, only to find a man there dead. Next thing she knows, her godfather's best friend, Hamish, who is also the caretaker of the garden, is the number 1 suspect, and just like her godfather would, Fiona steps in to try and clear his name. But with everyone hating this man that died, it seems impossible to locate the real killer, except there's something odd about the garden itself. It all looked completely dead the moment Fiona arrived, but the longer she stays, the more it's coming back to life. Is there indeed something magical about this garden, and can it help her to unlock the secrets that will lead to the real killer? Okay, so to my thoughts. So I listened to the audio version of all 3 of these books, and so I'm just going to say this now, but it's a blanket statement that covers all 3 audio books. The narrator of the audio books made a choice when it came to the way she was doing the accent for the main character, for Fiona, and as well as Fiona's internal thoughts, feelings, and goings on. The accent choice the narrator made irked me in book 1. By the time I got to book 3 and had to hear that irksome accent again, all I could think was I can't wait for this book to be done because then I'm done with the series and I don't have to hear this anymore. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean. It was just, oh my gosh. I tell you, if you are someone who listens to audiobooks, check out the sample of any of the 3 books in the Magic Garden Mystery series and listen to the narrator's choice of accent for the protagonist. Oh, sorry, it's so irksome. Some people describe fingernails on a blackboard to be really irksome for them. That same reaction is found in me every time the narrator was narrating something to do with the protagonist's point of view, whether it be her quoting something, her internal thoughts, feelings, and goings on, whatever it was, it annoyed me so much. The saving grace for the audiobook was all the other characters were either Scottish or English, and that sort of brought a classical feel to it. The majority of the classics that I've read have been narrated by English people from Britain, and so it brought about more of a well-rounded classical feel to the series as a whole. But oh my gosh, the accent. I don't want to go on about this for a long time, but you just need to know it irked me in book 1. So by the time I got to the final chapter in the final book, which I think was an epilogue, I was so happy that it was the last time I would have to hear this voice. Not the voice necessarily of the narrator, but the voice that the accent that the narrator chose to adopt. Oh my gosh, I hope never to have to hear that again. But moving on from the accent, which I did not take out my rating of the accent on any of these books because I rated these books based on the content that Amanda Flower provided me with, not with the audiobook experience. Alright, okay. Alright, so moving on to my thoughts on Flowers and Foul Play aside from the audio narrator. I've come to learn many things about Amanda Flower, so as I go along, and one of them is her love for animals. In Amish Candy Shop, we have Jethro the pig. In Amish Matchmaker, we have Philip and Peter the goats. And in this series, we have Duncan the squirrel, which to my mind was a nice touch to the book. I also enjoyed getting to know the town and ended up striking my own bond with Pressure, the Indian woman who runs the tea shop. Oh my gosh! We can't go any further without me just saying Pressure throughout the entire series is the saving grace of this series as a whole. Pressure is amazing. I did not include Pressure in my final review of the final book. I should have. Pressure is fantastic. So, okay, let me explain who Pressure is. Pressure owns a tea shop, like a tea and scones. It's very Scottish, very English. Tea shop. She is Indian. Her brother Raj runs the bar, which is called the Drunken Squirrel or something, I think. Something like that. I don't really remember the name of the bar, but anyway. They are both Indian, and they work there. So that was interesting because we have the accent that the narrator adopted for Fiona Knox. And then we have the Scottish and English accents for pretty much everyone else. Then we get to Pressure and Raj and we get the Indian accent from them. But what I love about Pressure is she is such a mother hen. Oh my goodness. If ever there is a moment of strife, which with Fiona Knox, there is almost always a moment of strife. Pressure is the one, I mean, there is. There's always something that she has an issue with. But anyway, Pressure is the one to ironically remove that pressure. So I think she was ironically named because Pressure is such a calming influence. So Fiona can be all in her head about, oh my gosh, this and oh my gosh, that. And Pressure will be the one to say, now, Fiona, calm down, take a seat. Let me get you a scone. You know, she's absolutely lovely. I love Pressure. Okay, so let's move on. I love Ivanhoe, who is the cat in the series, and Hamish, as well as the crew that Pressure's brother has formed. All in all, the mystery itself admittedly did not intrigue me, but the community and Fiona's surroundings definitely did, and even though the magic only appeared right at the end of book 1, more to come in just a moment, I also appreciated that when it finally came to light, I also appreciated it when it finally came to light, and I can't wait to see it expand in future books. Oh, past Mr. Francy, you are about to be very much let down. Okay, so I had an issue with the fact that this is book 1 in the Magic Garden mystery series, and we did not learn anything about the Magic Garden until right at the end of the book. It doesn't make any sense to me. It really annoyed me, but I had hope back then that the magic would expand and we would learn a heck of a lot more in books 2 and 3. Ultimately, as I said, I walked away from this book giving it 5 stars. So now let's move on to Death and Daisies, which is book number 2. So and I gave this book 4 stars. So the premise of this book is that we continue to follow Fiona Knox, who is now preparing to open her own flower shop in Scotland. Remember how I said before she moved to Scotland, she had a flower shop that went out of business in Tennessee? In book 1, she did not open a flower shop, but in book 2, she does in Scotland. Okay. On the night before the big opening, the minister, who clearly hasn't liked Fiona from the moment she arrived in Scotland in book 1, comes in upset with her over something once again. This is very true. The minister had issues with her, an American moving into Duncreeken, which is the area of her home is Duncreeken. And he's going, oh, we can't have an American in Duncreeken. And he always had all these issues with her. But anyway, he has an issue with her the night before she opens her big opening next day. And the following morning, during the opening of the store, one of the Scottish friends Fiona has made comes into her shop to announce that there's been a murder. Turns out someone has killed the minister, and Fiona is the only person everyone knows he has a horrible relationship with publicly. This in mind, Fiona jumps right in to try and find the real killer before she is put behind bars herself. So to my thoughts, it was a good story, really good. I have to mention the audiobook though again, just quickly. The narrator irked me once again. It was tough to listen to, but I got through it owing to how much I love the actual story. Amanda Flower shines once again in the second book in the series. While I could have done with more from the Magic Garden itself, just once again, while I could have done with more from the Magic Garden itself, overall, I found the garden and the florist shop aspects interesting. The mystery was also very intriguing, especially including the stakes at hand. My one con is that I felt we could have learned so much more about the magic to do with the garden by now, and with only one book left in the series, I'm surprised we still don't know a lot about it. In saying that, it has me intrigued to see how Amanda Flower will end it, and I gave it 4 stars. Okay. Yes. So again, we see that I'm saying, yeah, the book was okay. I'm not going to take my rating of the audiobook out on the physical book itself, so it still deserves 4 stars, but where's the magic? Where's the garden? What is going on? Why are we not getting more than this in a 3-book series? It doesn't make sense to me. In saying that, I did make the point in my review of book 2, and I want to reiterate that the moments that we did spend in the garden, as few and far between as they were, and the moments we spent in the flower shop, as few and far between as they were, I really did enjoy. It's almost like Amanda Flower read, reread, then watched, rewatched the original canonical works of The Secret Garden by Francis Hodgson Burnett and the film adaptation of that canonical work of The Secret Garden, because she did an amazing job with descriptions of the flowers and everything like that, how they look, how they felt, how they smelled, all that kind of stuff. It was wonderful. It was an amazing privilege for the senses reading every time that we got to go into the garden or into the flower shop. But they didn't happen anywhere near enough. And the fact that it's called the Magic Garden Mystery Series, why do we still not know anywhere near enough about the Magic Garden at the end of book 2? But I still had hope, my friends, because we were going into the 3rd and final book. And the 3rd and final book, which let's put that up on the screen, is called Mums and Mayhem, is actually not available as a paperback. It's only available as a hardcover. I did not purchase the hardcover because it was too expensive for me, so I decided I would listen to the audiobook, as I had with the other 2, and then determine if I want to purchase the paperback after listening to the audiobook, because if it was worth it, then okay, the hardcover after listening to the audiobook, because if it's worth it, then okay, I'll get the hardcover and complete the set. But if it's not, I'm not going to spend a heck of a lot of money when there's just no paperback option available. Like, to me, that's not fair. You have book 1 available as a paperback, you have book 2 available as a paperback, but book 3 you only have exclusively available as a hardcover. That doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, spoiler for you all, not about the book itself, but about my decision on whether or not to buy the hardcover. The book was not worth the hardcover, so I'm glad I did not purchase it. Okay. Let's talk about the disappointment that was book 3. And remember, I just came off finishing reading this, so my feelings are still very, very fresh. Okay, let's jump in. So, the premise of this book is world-famous fiddler player Barley McPhee arrives in blustery Belwick, Aberdeenshire, Scotland, for a grand homecoming concert organised by jeweller Bernice Brennan. Fiona Knox, owner of the Climbing Rose flower shop, is starting to regret volunteering to help with the concert. Bernice is an exacting taskmaster, and Fiona has enough tension dealing with her parents, who have travelled from Tennessee to visit Fiona and her younger sister Isla, and to reveal a secret about Fiona's birth. But when Barley is found dead in his trailer during the concert's intermission, and his death is shockingly tied to Fiona's father, Fiona discovers there are more secrets surrounding her family than she realized. Okay, there's your premise. Now let me talk about my thoughts and feelings, because man, do I have many. Okay. First of all, I forgot to mention that, and reading the premise of book 3 reminded me, in book 2, Death and Daisies, Isla, Fiona's sister, arrives. I don't remember why. She just arrives randomly, and she ends up falling in love with a guy, and so now she wants to stay in Scotland. She was only going to come for a holiday, but now she wants to permanently live there because of this guy that she loves. That love continues on in book 3, so her motivations to stay are huge. Her parents were thinking that they were going to take Isla back home, but Isla has to convince them that no, she's going to stay in Scotland while they go back home. But anyway, that is what it is. Alright, so, to my thoughts. Honestly, I'm just glad I've finished off the series. Towards the end, Fiona was starting to really get on my nerves, and the lack of world building with the magic of the garden annoyed me a lot. As you can see, that features in every review of every book. The murder was meh, the reveal was meh. All in all, this was a letdown as the final book in the series, and I'm just thankful I didn't pay for the hardcover. See? I even said it in the review. I enjoyed every moment we got with Police Chief Neil Craig, but all in all, the series was a letdown for me. I want to also add in there again that I enjoyed my time with Pressure. And as I said, I forgot to put her in there, but I enjoyed my time with Pressure a lot. But all in all, the series was a letdown for me because I know how amazing an author Amanda Flower is. Glad I can cross it off my list of Amanda Flower series though, but not a book or series I'd want to read again anytime soon. And let me tell you why. And yes, you probably guessed it by now. It is because I am getting... I'm getting emotional here, but you all seem to love it when I keep it raw and real, so let's keep on going with that. I am getting sick and tired of any cozy author who names their series a certain name, and then that thing, that particular theme, because a series is usually named after a theme, that theme is not dominant in the series. It never makes sense to me when this happens. I hark back to Kristen Brecker's The Nantucket Candlemaker mystery series, which I read last year, also a cozy mystery trilogy that had next to no candle making happening whatsoever. So why in the frig was it called the Candle Making Mystery Series? It makes no sense. And it's the same with this one. This series is literally called the Magic Garden Mystery Series. If it is a Magic Garden Mystery Series, why are we not focusing more on the Magic Garden? I don't know if Amanda Flower, I have to be real because I don't know. I don't know if Amanda Flower was just stopped after book 3, if she planned to keep going, but they weren't selling well or whatnot. But the fact that it is a trilogy now, and I can only judge from those 3 books because there aren't any more, and it doesn't look like there will ever be any more, which I'm totally fine with. But because there's only those 3, there is next to nothing about the Magic Garden in the series. And it disappoints me because I finished book 1, not a lot of magic stuff until right at the end, but I had hope for book 2. Finished book 2, again, not a lot of magic stuff, but I had hope for book 3 because it's the final book in the series, so we're going to learn all about the Magic Garden, and we didn't. The majority of book 3 is taken up by the mystery, which I understand being a cozy mystery series, but what I don't understand is why we didn't focus all of our time away from the mystery on the Magic Garden, and we didn't do that either. The cozy side is split up into many and varying different things, so not just the garden. And so there's a big drama that occurs with the garden, but it's kind of a mystery, but it's not the main cozy mystery. It's like a side mystery that goes on. But that side mystery detracted from us getting more world building on the magic system of the Magic Garden. And what let me down the most with this series overall, and that is more than the choice that the narrator had for the accent of the main character, more than that, was that coming out of this series, I still know next to nothing about the magic with the garden. For those of you who have read fantasies before, the magic system in this series is incredibly soft. For those who don't understand that term, soft magic systems refer to a magic system where you know next to nothing about it. So you have all these characters in fantasies that will cast spells or use their magic in some way, shape, or form, and you just accept that it's happening without knowing how it's happening, if that makes sense. So a great example of a soft magic system is the Harry Potter series because it's extremely soft. We know next to nothing about the magic itself, how it came to be, how they end up receiving the magic and things like that. Where a hard magic system example would be Mistborn, the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson, which is extremely hard. You know everything, all the ins and outs and goings on to do with the magic system, the limitations, what they can do, what they can't do, how it exists, how it's acquired, yada, yada, yada. So I understand that a magic system in a cozy mystery series is going to be soft anyway, because the focus of a cozy mystery series is the mystery. But what I don't get is why in that case do you call it the Magic Garden mystery series when there is next to no magic that occurs at all? Because let me tell you that there is next to no magic that occurs at all. I think we have one moment in each book of a tiny little minuscule piece of magic that occurs. So I don't understand that. And plus, the thread throughout the entire series about the Magic Garden is that there is more to the Magic Garden than meets the eye, and that we're going to learn more and more. It seems to be teased that we're going to learn more and more as we go along, and we just don't. So that was a massive letdown for me as well. I'm going to wrap this up because I've gone on for far too long. But overall, the series did let me down. As I said, book 1 got 5 stars, book 2 got 4 stars, book 3 got 2 stars. And yeah, I am glad that I read the series because I do love Amanda Flower as an author. The fact that she continues to include animals in her series, I love. The fact that she has characters, even in this series that I love, like Pressure, I really appreciate. And so I want to read every single Amanda Flower series that I can. So on that side of the scale, am I annoyed with reading the series? No, I'm not. I'm glad I read it because that's another series of Amanda Flowers I can cross off my list as having read. But judging the series on the whole as its own series, I just didn't like it. I really didn't like it. I did not appreciate the series title being Magic Garden, where there's not a lot of Magic Garden stuff that happens at all. And I didn't like the narrator. I didn't like most of the mysteries. Our protagonist annoyed me to no end. She made decisions that really, I didn't understand why. Like, yeah, and this happens with a lot of cozy protagonists anyway, but our protagonist will literally be told something very, very clearly. Do this, don't do this. And our protagonist will say, I know I was told I shouldn't do this. I knew that I would be in trouble for doing this, but I also knew I had to do it anyway. And there would be no motivation to do the thing that she's doing anyway. It irked me. And that's just one example. Like, a lot of things annoyed me about this. So I'm glad I read the series. I can cross it off my list. All in all, if I would average it out, I'm giving this series 3 stars. It wasn't overly disappointing. It wasn't something that deserves 1 star overall, but it wasn't something that deserved 5 stars overall for me. So I'm giving it an average rating overall for all 3 books, the entire series, of 3 stars. And I'm looking forward to reading more Magic Bookshop because I'm enjoying that one a whole lot more. But in the meantime, that is where I am going to leave it. Let me know all your thoughts and feelings on the Magic Garden Mystery Series, whether you agree or disagree with me, in the comment section below. Letting you all go with peace, blessings, and so much love. Please do be kind and love one another and spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world. And until next time, happy reading. Bye everyone.